Well, it's the clearest hint yet. Interest rates are going up in August, and it's come all the way from the top. The Reserve Bank governor said rates are likely to rise if inflation continues edging higher. Mr Stevens says China's increasing demand for Australia's resources was unlikely to be short-term, leading to structural changes in the economy which won't be driven by consumer spending, as it has been in the past. A rate rise won't be welcomed in Canberra, where the Prime Minister weighed into the industrial relations fight in New South Wales today. Political correspondent Tom Iggulden reports.
From the streets of Sydney, an industrial stoush now echoing in the halls of federal parliament. The Prime Minister's using the fight in New South Wales to revive memories of the Howard government's work choices, the scheme credited with helping to bring federal Labor to power.
It's a pity that the Leader of the Opposition has always, across his political life, been such a strong supporter of workplace relations reform and taking away basic pay and entitlements from working Australians. And unless he disassociates himself from Barry O'Farrell, it will be on display again.
But the Prime Minister's got bigger concerns closer to home, being hammered in the polls as concerns about the carbon tax persist. And it's the unions who are driving some of those concerns. Former ACTU boss Jenny George issued another warning today, publicly backed by a government backbencher.
There are thousands of workers and thousands of families who rely on manufacturing and related industries, and we are not going to get a deal that does not take account of their interests.
Stephen Jones succeeded Jenny George in her New South Wales seat, which includes thousands of steel workers. And like her, he wants maximum protection for the industry from the carbon tax, which is firing up the opposition.
And said in relation to the carbon tax that it was, and I quote, unrealistic to expect that not one job will be lost, end quote. Given that Paul Howes from the Australian Workers Union has said, and I quote, if one job is gone, our support is gone. Treasurer, who is right, the member for Throsby or your mate Paul Howes?
We understand the importance of jobs. Those opposite don't understand the importance of jobs. They stood for work choices, less security for Australian workers, Mr Speaker.
As one Liberal frontbencher tweeted today, in case of 31% primary vote, break glass and go with work choices. Job security fears damaged John Howard's last campaign. Now Labor too seems concerned it's losing workers. And there was a bad omen for the government on another front. Today the Reserve Bank governor dialed up the likelihood that the swelling mining boom driven by accelerating demand from China will lead to another hike in interest rates sooner rather than later.
With that general outlook, it follows that macroeconomic policies must be configured in the expectation that there will need to be some degree of restraint.
After holding off over recent months, the governor gave a strong hint about when the RBA will next move.
The next time we get a comprehensive round of data will be in late July, ahead of the August meeting of the board.
And Glenn Stevens says highly indebted Australian households can't be expected to continue driving economic growth.
For 15 years or so, we had a world in which consumers geared up, leverage increased, housing values increased, debt went up, saving rate went down. As published, it actually went below zero for a while. This was a world in which the consumer, for various reasons, was helping lead the growth dynamic of the country. But I think that period is now behind us.
Tonight, Parliament House is hosting its annual midwinter ball as the government hunkers down for more chilly weeks ahead. Tom Iggulden, Lateline.